Hey Minties! I got a really awesome hack for you today. I don't know if you remember my moss wall, but I had such a blast making this, and I just love making projects for my house. And I also even made a mirror wall. And so, the mirror wall is awesome in itself, but I want to add some accessories to it to make it look really nice. So I found this faux olive tree from Nearly Natural, and I also got this pot from Home Goods. And I stuck it in there and I'm like, wait a minute, this is not really looking finished. So I found an awesome hack today to show you how you can finish your pot, raise your plant up, and then have a nice, beautiful piece of moss on top of it. And that way I can tie in my moss wall with my mirror wall and my plants. Alright guys, so let me run down the supplies with you. I actually got this olive tree from Nearly Natural. It was pretty hard to find. I was looking for a tree that was at least 8 feet tall. This one happens to be 7.5 feet tall. And why did I go with an olive tree? Well, I worked on my garden super hard during the pandemic, and I made it into an Italian garden, and I just wanted to tie something into the house from outside. And I also live in the middle of 2 forests, so there's a lot of greenery outside, and I really just love greenery, and I love to tie it inside the house. So it gives you that feeling of being outside and inside at the same time. So I got this pot from Home Goods, and I absolutely love it, but the bucket is pretty deep. And so this actually needs to go up a little bit. So that's a part of the hack for today. We're gonna find a way to raise the bucket so that way the plant is actually level with the surface of the vase. So with our supplies, I have a bunch of these disposable cups, and I'm going to use the ridges on the cups to actually cut accordingly to make sure to raise it just to the level surface of this vase. And I'm gonna need to have something to stabilize these cups, right? So I took a piece of cardboard and I cut this cardboard. I traced it from the bottom of this pot, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue these cups right onto the surface of this and then stick it underneath the pot, and then it's gonna bring my plant up. Then I'm gonna cut an even bigger circle out of cardboard for the surface of my vase, and once I do that, I'll be able to glue my moss on. So let's talk about moss. I have fake moss. Fake moss is easy, it's super easy to glue on, and it's really pretty, and I think that it will tie in lovely with all of the greenery that I have going on in the house. So once I glue this on, of course there's gonna be gaps between the cardboard, and I'm gonna wanna cover those gaps. So I have some loose moss that's left over from my moss wall, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue those in between those gaps, and then I'm gonna have my project done. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my cup. I cut the first 3 already, and I used the first ridge on the cup to pretty much be a guide to know how short to cut them. So I'm gonna just make 2 slits right here. And that way I can bend it and cut along that first line. And that's gonna make it the perfect fit for my pot. It's gonna make it nice and level. All right, so the pot is somewhat slim, so the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna have 2 facing up and 2 facing down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue this cardboard right onto this, and it's gonna be nice and stable for my pot to rest on top of it. All right, so now the next step is that we're gonna glue these cups onto the cardboard. So I'm gonna use my glue gun and go ahead and put glue all the way around the rim of this cup. Go ahead and place place it down right here. And then same thing for each cup. Just literally put the glue all the way around the room. Now we have our cup stand, and it's gonna be nice and level inside of the pot. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and trace this pot all the way around on the cardboard, but I'm actually gonna cut about a 1/2 inch in because we wanna eliminate the rim of the pot so that this cardboard rests on the inside of this pot. So it's all traced up. All right, so now that I got my circle traced, now you're gonna cut it. Now it's cut. Put the tree in the bucket. All right, now that you got the tree in, let's get started. Okay, so now that we got the tree inside of the bucket, I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the way to the center of my cardboard so that I can fit this around the tree before I get started with my moss balls. It's not gonna just get in there like that, so we're gonna have to dig a hole. Use the width of this and keep digging it out. See how it fits. All right guys, so I'm going ahead and pushing down on the edges just to mold this into the pot. And I'm gonna get started on gluing my moss. So this is kind of like Tetris. You're gonna, glue some pieces down and figure out what fits nicely next to it. So I love how it has this little dent right here. So I'm gonna lean it up against the trunk of this tree. And you don't want to have the same pieces over and over. So of course you want to pick different shapes, different pieces. And this one fits really nice right here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one right next to it. It has a nice little dip, so it can fit right next to it. I'm going to get a really tiny one. I'm going to glue that one on the other side. All right, now that I've filled my cardboard with all the big moss pieces, we're gonna need to fill in these gaps because of course you don't want any of this brown cardboard showing. So I have some leftover loose moss from my big wall. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and glue this in between the big pieces of moss just so that I can cover the cardboard. So check it out. All right guys, what do you think? 5 minutes, that's it. If you guys want to see more videos like this, more home hacks, make sure you hit me up on Instagram. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.